Hi, welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Here for another episode of AskSCW. You can get involved now with the hashtag AskSCW on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course you can leave a comment here on YouTube as well, and I will answer for you in the next video. Just a couple of questions for you this week, so without further ado, let's get straight in with the first question. First one comes from Noob and Co. And a few questions here. Will the Kabuki Warriors drop the women's tag team titles due to Kairi Sane's concussion? Do you think everyone on social media are behind Asuka this year because of her YouTube channel? And number 3, if Asuka wins the Raw Women's Championship on Raw this week, do you think we might see a triple threat match? I'm guessing that will involve Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler as the other two competitors. Well, yeah, looking into these questions, first off, I believe Kairi Sane has been back in ring since the initial concussion at TLC, as she was involved in the Women's Royal Rumble match and has been involved in action on Raw, so I don't see that as a potential, and I can see that the Kabuki Warriors will probably remain champions until at least WrestleMania. I can't see them dropping the belts any time before. They are the most credible champions for the women's tag team titles in WWE. I don't see any challenges that would take off at this particular point. I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross will eventually be the two to take the belts off of them, but we'll have to wait and see as and when that we book. But I think WrestleMania will probably see maybe 4 teams thrown into a match, so I think that that's probably the likely destination if the belts will come off the Kabuki Warriors at all. I think people are behind Asuka because of the fact that they look at her and feel that she was booked so well in NXT, and as she came to the main roster and there was a bit of a blip on the booking side of things, she almost become just another face after such good booking for nearly 2 years on NXT. So I think now that she's got some more momentum back behind her, I think people are looking at her and thinking they want to see her succeed, and I'm personally one of them. I'm a big fan of the change of gimmick, the heel turn, the Kabuki Warriors tag team in general. I'd like to see Asuka continue giving that push in WWE, but sadly I don't see her winning the Raw Women's Championship on Raw this week. I think it will remain Becky and what is rumoured to be Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania. There are rumours that Shayna Baszler could be at Raw as early as this evening. Have to wait and see if that will play out or not. Should Asuka though win the Raw Women's Championship, then yeah, why not? A triple threat match would be interesting, but I think could also be an interesting twist then if Baszler, instead of to target Becky Lynch, would target Asuka before Becky Lynch comes for Baszler at WrestleMania. But at the same time, Becky Lynch has been champion since last WrestleMania, not dropped the belt in between that time. I think it's very unlikely at this point she would drop the belt between now and WrestleMania. Next comes from Tire World Order 2. If Matt Hardy returns to Impact Wrestling to finish his broken story, do you think it could coexist with the Rosemary and Su Yung Undead Realm universe to become something greater than its already amazing parts? I really enjoyed that storyline as well. Actually, it's probably my favourite in Impact Wrestling at the moment. The Rosemary and the Su Yung storyline. Of course, Su Yung originally was almost hung, was it, in Mexico with Havoc, and then became just a regular, normal Susie character. She's gone back to her sort of undead character when she revisited the scene this past week on Impact. So, yeah, it's been quite fun, that storyline. Could it be intertwined with Matt Hardy? Should he come back in with a broken universe? Would certainly be an interesting twist. I'd like to see how it would play out. I'm unsure if Matt Hardy would return to Impact Wrestling, but of course it's definitely an option. I think one thing is for sure, he's definitely leaving WWE. I'd be very happy to see him come back to where the Broken Universe begun. I think it would be great to see him back in Impact Wrestling. I feel more likely, though, he'll end up in AEW. My fear is that he will end up being the leader of the Dark Order for this sort of broken gimmick in AEW. But time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, of course, Luke Harper would be another candidate that could potentially fill that Dark Order kind of role, but I'm not a fan of that storyline. Just as I am as much of a fan of the Impact Wrestling storyline with Rosemary and Su Yung. So yeah, a pro for Impact Wrestling there, perhaps a negative for AEW, but I do feel that Matt Hardy would most likely end up in AEW, but would be very open to that idea if he was to do that in Impact Wrestling and how they would use that going forward. Last question this week comes from Pro Wrestling Talk, asking if I could add one thing to the WWE network, what would it be? Well, first off, I'd like to see things not taken off the network. Of course, there's a lot of rumours that some pay-per-views could be sold this week, or last week we should say now. I really don't want to see that take place. I think the network would definitely lose a lot of subscribers if WrestleMania, for example, was actually bought by a different streaming service. I do wonder if the network is working well enough in WWE's eyes, but I certainly am enjoying it as a network viewer, particularly with watching some of the old school stuff either maybe I didn't see when I was younger, or maybe something I can relive now. I've really enjoyed going through certain pay-per-views over certain years on the network. But for me, I really love the documentaries, and I would love to see more of those brought on. I always think they do a great job of it, especially when they dive into a superstar's past and not be afraid to mention where they've previously been, maybe an Impact Wrestling or a Ring of Honor. But I suppose as well, I would really love to see a tape library come in, maybe one day if they bought maybe, I don't know, TNA or Ring of Honor, and they brought the tape library. For me, that would be awesome to have that on there, because a lot of early TNA pay-per-views I never watched. I didn't really follow Impact until probably around about, I won't even say 2010. I watched it the first time properly, so I mean I missed a lot of the early days, but was always aware of the fuss and what was going on, but just never got to watch it. So for me, that would be really cool to see something like that added to the network, especially when you've got a lot of the top stars that were there then in WWE now, like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, for example. Kurt Angle came back. A lot of those matches I would love to see how they would have played out. But yeah, that would, for me, if I could see something added, that's what I would like, realistic or unrealistically added. But from what's realistic, definitely more documentaries. I think the work they do is absolutely incredible. So I'd like to see more of those on the network. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to see stuff not taken off of it either. That would be something that I'd be massively in favour of, because I do fear for the network, if I'm brutally honest, because if things start getting sold as rights, yeah, people will start unsubscribing, people will stop paying for the network, which means then it probably opens up the door for an entire new streaming service to take the whole network and put it on their service instead, which I wouldn't be surprised if that would be something that could happen in the next 3 or 4 years, because if WWE are financing a network that has probably only got about 1.4 million viewers across the world, and they don't think that that's enough, then why not sell the rights? They've made so much money off the TV deals like Fox and USA Network. Why not, and they've got a great deal in the UK as well with BT Sports now instead of Sky. Why not put it on a different network and people subscribe to that instead? And the money's just straight in WWE's hands, and it doesn't really matter to them how many people then subscribe to watch it for WWE. I think that that's a possibility that could happen in the next year or two, but personally, I hope that it doesn't. But that's all this week. It's a short and sweet one for you there on here for AskSCW. But of course, make sure to get yourselves involved for future weeks. Like I say, use the hashtag AskSCW. Ask your question. I'll answer it in the next video for you. But thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. You've been watching me here on YouTube.com. Take care.